to test out the Lupo Superpanel Softs in a typical interview setting. It's a 3-point lighting setup. So I have a Lupo Superpanel Soft as my key, another Lupo Superpanel Soft as my fill, and my backlight is a Lupo Day LED 1000. Okay, so I'm using myself as a model because A, I'm free, but B, it's easy to make a younger person with great skin look good, but it's much more of a challenge with someone that we'll say is as vintage as myself. So, I definitely have some lighting challenges. A, I kind of have deep set eyes, which are harder to fill in, and I kind of have a longer, sharper nose, which can cast shadows. What I want to do today is play with the fill light. I want to go from completely off to 2 stops under. So right now it's 2 stops under, and then we'll go to 1.5 stops under, to 1 stop under, to 1/2 stop under, and then to a 1-to-1 lighting ratio where they're both the same exposure. Okay, so here we are with no fill light on. Okay, so my key light is reading an F4 right here, and the fill light is off. There's still a little bit of bounce around the room, so I still have like an F1 coming on the fill side. But if I look straight on, this is what you get. Okay, so this is 2 stops under on the fill side. So the fill side now is reading at an F2. Okay, so we got F2 here, F4 here. So now we're 1.5 stops under on our fill. Our fill is now reading right at F24. So F24 on our fill and F4 on our key. So now we are 1 stop under on our fill. So now it should be reading 2.8. So 2.8 here, F4 here. Now we are a 1/2 stop under on our fill. So now this is reading F34 on our fill with F4 on our key. Okay, so this is a 1-to-1 setup where our key and our fill are both at an F4. So definitely a very flat look. And I wouldn't recommend this setup. You kind of get nose shadows on each side. Just not the optimal setup. When you see these images all side by side, you can kind of take a look and decide what ratio works best for you depending on what project you're doing. So I wanted to check out further softening the Lupo Superpanel Soft. So what I've done is I put on the barn doors and put a piece of Lee 251 diffusion on it. What I'm doing is every time I add something to this, I'm changing the dimmer in the back to compensate. So we're still at an F4 here. My fill right now is at an F28, so we have a 1 stop difference. So anyhow, so this is how this looks. And then if I look off camera, you could see it's a different way you can set up. So the key will wrap around a little more. Okay, so now let's get a little thicker diffusion on. I put the Lee 216 diffusion on my key light here. So you can see the difference between the 216 and the 251. So here's me to camera. Here's me off camera. So let's change that out. Now I put the DOP snap bag on my key light, and I've skinned it with Magic Cloth. So Magic Cloth is the thickest diffusion that you can get for the DOP snap bag. I wanted to check that out. So here it is right now. I did adjust the light, the dimmer up, so it's still at F4 now, and here we're still at 2.8. So here I am straight on, and here I am off camera. So to round things out, I wanted to get a 4x4 frame and put 251 diffusion on it and see how that worked. Once again, I changed the output to be F4 here, F28 here. So here I am straight on, and here I am off camera. When you look at these 5 shots, you can really see the progression. The first shot, which is the Lupo Superpanel Soft with no diffusion at all in front of it. It's a little bit harder around my eyes and stuff, but not bad. When you get to the last shot, which is the Lupo Superpanel Soft shot through a 4x4 frame, that definitely provides your softer light. It's always the bigger your source, the softer your light. But I also like the Lee 216 on the barn doors. And obviously that's a lot more practical a lot of times to bring around. It's hard to bring around a 4x4 frame. If you just get the barn doors and put the 216 on it, that also gives you a nice soft look.